Yeah. No rush.
Bloomingdale Board of Education meeting to order at 6 p.m. We have a roll call, please. Oh, let me read it. The requirement of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 PL, and said by this meeting has been sent to the Star Ledger, Superintendent, all board members, all school districts, Bloomingdale Borough Law, clerk of the Borough of Bloomingdale, and posted online for the district website. Copies of agendas are available in paper form this evening and are posted on the Bloomingdale School website. Can I get a- No. We'll do fax loop now.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure. Now, we do a roll call.
Mr. Rabia? Present. Mrs. Grisham? Here. Mrs. Hussein? Here. Mrs. Marcus? Here. Mr. Owen?
Present.
Mrs. Santana? Here. Mrs. Spencer? Here. Mrs. Wilson? Here. Mr. Carvalho?
Here. I'd like to have a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Lauren and second by Nadia.
And the reasons for the motion are listed here.
Oh, I have to read it too. Discuss certain matters. Whereas the said law requires the board to adopt a resolution of the public meeting before the meeting sets an executive or private session, be it therefore resolved. Bloomingdale Board of Education has determined that it is necessary to meet in closed session on May 25th, 2022 at 6:07 p.m. to discuss 1, training on superintendent evaluation instrument, 2, completion of superintendent evaluation. Be it further resolved that the Bloomingdale Board of Education reserves the right to discuss other matters. Be it further resolved that the minutes of this closed session can be made public and the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may or may not be taken following the return from closed session.
Can we move this motion by voice? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We're now in executive session. I have a motion to return to executive session. Lauren moved. The second. Cheryl second. So we're back in the regular session. At this time, we're going to do the flag salute. So we're going to please rise. It's not the agenda at this time. What we'd like to do is have a minute of silence, a moment of silence, in respect for the students that prepared the test. Okay. I'd like to proceed with the agenda. If we have a motion for the approval of minutes. We do it via move.
Is that Nadia? Okay.
Representative.
Okay.
I've provided some non-material revisions.
Okay.
to Mrs. Moore.
All right. At this point, I recommend we do this by roll call in case I'm not sure if there's any exception. You do a roll call. on this,
Ms.
please?
Arabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco?
Yes.
Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Olenschlager?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana? Yes. Mrs. Spencer? Yes. Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Caravello?
Yes. At this point, I
Absolutely. So I have the distinct pleasure of honoring our 2022 retirees. I see many of them are here with us tonight, so. There's some flowers yourself. So I do want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I prepared a few remarks about our group of retirees in general, and I am going to speak and embarrass a little bit each of our individual retirees. So as the superintendent of schools here in Bloomingdale, I have the unique pleasure of presenting a number of topics each month to the members of the public, members of our teaching staff, and the Board of Education. But of all the presentations I've had the chance to give this year, this one is by far the most meaningful as we honor the careers of our teaching staff who've truly given years of service to the students of Bloomingdale. Like I said, I plan to acknowledge the group first and then go into each of them individually. So given that I've only been with the Bloomingdale community about a year now, I wanted to ensure that I captured everyone's career accurately. So the best way to start at that, and my best first step was I pulled everybody's human resources file because I figured that could give me a good indication of everyone's career. But it was eye-opening to me because as I pulled these files out of the cabinet and we started stacking them, and we have 5 retirees this year that we're going to honor, they got higher and higher and higher. And I was like, why are these so big? Why are there so many folders? And then as I was thinking about it, it really struck me. And it really is a nice parallel to what their careers were like in education, because they've really been part of this transformation in education. Because why those files were so thick is at the start of everybody's career, everything was paper. Every day off, you requested in paper. Every evaluation was paper. Every letter you got was in paper. And you could really think where we are today and the transformation we made, both from the human resources side, but also in the classroom yourself. Because the classrooms are the same way. Everything when you started out was paper, everything was print, and really they've come a pretty far way over their teaching careers. If you think about it, this is what some of our teaching staff throughout their careers lived through. I mentioned paper, everything being written, nothing being really typed. Absences were on small little slips of paper you submitted to your principal that got sent to your HR file forever. Evaluations are printed and stored. Some other accomplishments we had: the district built its first computer lab during our retirees' time in the district. We purchased our first set of instructional software. We began teaching typing to our students and how to use the keyboard. We stopped teaching typing to our students and how to use the keyboard. We moved from, and some of these are huge in the district, we moved from having 2 kindergarten through 4th grade schools to being clustered and having pre-K to 1 at one building, 2 to 4 at the other. We hung smart boards in our classrooms. We watched chalk go out of fashion as a tool used to teach. We put teacher computers in classrooms. We opened language learning disability, autism, and multiple disability classes in the district during their time here. We went wireless within our buildings. We moved to 100% online learning for a great portion of time. Then we moved back to hybrid learning with students split. Then we navigated those mixed modalities. And then finally, we went to current day with everybody having technology. So if you think about our retirees, they've really come the entire spectrum from starting, beginning of teaching, student teaching, where everything was one modality, and where we're kind of concluding the career today is truly amazing. Education changed at an unprecedented rate that we've never seen before. And, they adapted and they grew with it, not for their own sake, but for the sake of the students at Bloomingdale. And for that, we are truly eternally grateful. So that's my remarks on the group. And now I'd like to go in and present our official Bloomingdale retiring class of 2022. So the first staff member I'd like to invite up and speak a little bit about is Miss Casper. These are in no order, but come on up, Trinda. So we have a little gift of our appreciation, a graduation themed set of flowers. Okay. So we're at my remarks about Miss Casper. So Miss Casper is wrapping up her career as a preschool teacher at Martha B. Day School. A loyal employee of the district for over 20 years, Drinda is truly described as a special education expert. Up until this past year, virtually every student entering Drinda's classroom was an early learner with a disability. Working with these students was Drinda's greatest pride and joy. One look into her classroom and you'll see a caring preschool room packed with resources from floor to ceiling, simply there to make students better and help them learn. Her kind approach to our 3- and 4-year-olds makes the students immediately drawn to her. As the architect of our preschool graduation, which I got to experience for the first time last year, Drinda helps our students celebrate their successes and what they've overcome and sends them off to their kindergarten careers ready and prepared for whatever comes their way. I had the opportunity this week to sneak into Drinda's classroom and ask them to describe some of their favorite parts of teaching. Now, before I go on, remember, these are preschoolers, so we're talking 3 and 4 years old. So some of their direct remarks were, they love that she's funny. We love that she likes us a lot. We really miss her when she's home. We can't wait till she's here. They also said this is being prisoners. They also said that Miss Casper has great eyes, that she has cool hair, and that she dresses like my mom, and I love it. From the eyes of your students. So Mrs. Casper, on behalf of the Bloomingdale Board of Education, I congratulate you on a successful career with Bloomingdale. We're certainly going to miss you. Thank you. So next, I'd like to invite up Mrs. Gleason. So Mrs. Gleason is completing her career as a special education teacher at Samuel R. Donnell School after 33 astounding years. Prior to joining us in Bloomingdale, Meg worked at the Bergen County Special Services, which serves some of the neediest students in our area. Coming to Bloomingdale, she worked in a variety of teaching positions, leading into her current assignment as a resource room teacher for our 2nd grade students. Recently, I had the opportunity to ask Meg what she was going to miss about her time in Bloomingdale most. Without hesitating, she shared that it was the students and staff members that she absolutely will miss the most. It was clear working with students in small groups is truly her pride and joy. When I did pull some of Mrs. Gleason's students, this was slightly hard too as well, because they're always with you. And they described her as being someone who's so funny. And they repeated, so funny, very patient, and my personal favorite, the best addition and subtraction teacher there ever is. When I asked the students what they'd miss most, they said that they would truly miss from her classroom how hard she tries to get them to learn. And that's truly astonishing. It is clear that the students will certainly miss Meg as much as we will. The staff at SRD feels the same way, because I had a chance to ask the staff as well. The staff regards her as the go-to person. They feel they can approach her with any professional or personal issue they're dealing with, and she's always willing to lend a listening ear. Meg is still determining her plans for retirement, but as she shared with me, she sees some travel coming in, maybe some light work, and relaxation certainly coming up soon. So on behalf of the Bloomingdale Board of Education, thank you for your time. Next, I'd like to invite up Ms. Deborah Jordan. As an aside, I very much enjoyed speaking to our students and their perspectives, especially our little ones. We'll hear more about that in a moment. So Mrs. Jordan is completing her teaching journey as a special education teacher at Martha B. Day School. Deb has had a number of assignments over the years within Bloomingdale. Her career began in Bloomingdale as a special education teacher before spending time teaching our general education students at a number of early elementary grades. After a highly successful career in general education, Deb moved back to her first love as a special education teacher at MBD. Deb's time among the different grade levels perfectly illustrates how the staff feel about her. Direct quotes such as, "Deb could do anything. Deb's so flexible. If you need help, Deb's the one you ask," were echoed over and over again from every staff member I went to. Students truly feel the same way. As they said, "Mrs. Jordan's the best at teaching me my A's and B's. She's the best teacher ever. She makes learning fun." And my personal favorite, "I get so happy when Mrs. Jordan gets happy." Recently, I asked Deb to share what she was going to miss most about her time in Bloomingdale. She too, like so many of our retirees, spoke about her love for the students and staff. While Bloomingdale has changed a lot during her career, it's been the living with the students and working with the students that made it an enjoyable place to work, in addition to the staff. Turning towards retirement, Deb shared that what she's looking forward to most, top of the list, is spending time with her grandchildren, which is certainly well-deserved. Finally, I asked Deb to provide some insight into future teachers at Bloomingdale, which I will share with our new crop of teachers that begin in August. And I think this is certainly valuable. She shared that really as new teachers, they should recognize those teachable moments and go with it. Not every lesson has to go as planned, and that's okay. Follow those teachable moments. That's certainly sound advice from a true master teacher. Mrs. Jordan, on behalf of the Bloomingdale Board of Education, congratulations on an outstanding. Next, I'd like to invite up Miss Jeannie Pelcher. Ms. Pelcher is completing her career as the learning disability teacher consultant on the child study team within Bloomingdale Public Schools. While this may be Ms. Pelcher's concluding job, she has held in numerous positions during her time within Bloomingdale. She has worked as a self-contained teacher with some of our neediest students. She worked as a resource room teacher, and she even served for a period of time as the acting principal of Samuel R. Donald School. Ms. Pelcher is truly described as a respected member of the child study team. In speaking with her two close colleagues on the child study team, they described her as a compassionate educator, a dedicated educator, and someone who always has the student's best interest at heart above all else. Colleagues went on to tell me a specific story about how when Ms. Pelcher started in the position, it was new and challenging, just like it would be to anyone else. But instead of sitting back and taking time to see how the position went out, she went above and beyond on her own to learn the job inside and out, all for the sake of her students and fellow child study team members. From that moment on, the child study team was truly impressed with her, and she was one of their own as a core team of 3. Former students have also, that's who I reached out to for Mrs. Pelcher, former students have returned to Bloomingdale also singing her praise. They often described her as the most patient person on the planet Earth, and truly give her credit, this is an astonishing one, truly give her credit for how they're able to read today, because prior to having Mrs. Pelcher as a teacher, they were unable to read. Looking towards retirement, Mrs. Pelcher shared that she is very much looking forward to life as a grandma and assisting her family. She does plan to stay active in the education world, though, doing some tutoring for students who are truly struggling, and they will certainly benefit that. So, Mrs. Pelcher, thank you for your years of service to the community of Bloomingdale. It's certainly appreciated. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite up Ms. Diane. So Ms. Finley is completing her career as a dedicated second grade teacher at Samuel R. Donald School. While Diane may be completing her career at SRD in grade 2, she's also held numerous other positions during her time, such as working in our nursery and preschool program, teaching early elementary grades, and a number of years as our basic skills teacher. Colleagues at SRD often describe Diane as a great listening ear, dedicated educator, and truly supportive colleague. This was certainly echoed as we reflected on our time in Bloomingdale together. Diane complimented the friendships and professional relationships that she was able to build over time, and truly feels that's what she's going to miss most, in addition to, of course, missing her students. Our students certainly are going to miss her as well. When I snuck and grabbed some of them today, they shared with me that she truly is the most kind and patient person ever. She throws the best parties when you do well, and she's truly the best, and I like this one, being a former math teacher, she's the best at learning 3-digit numbers and how to put them in expanded form. While very specific, and obviously that's stuck in. While Dan is looking forward to retirement and also enjoying the grandma role, she doesn't think her time in education is just done yet. She's considering doing some light subbing work and still staying involved in schools in some capacity. So on behalf of the Bloomingdale Board of Education, I'd like to thank you for your time in the district. You'll certainly be. So again, thank you, everyone. I know for the 5 retirees, our time working together is short and only a year. It has been a pleasure truly getting to know all of you. And I know we'll celebrate you at the retirement dinner officially next week. But again, thank you for all your service. It truly made a difference in the lives of Bloomingdale students. Thank you.
At this time, I'm not going to have the president's report since we had such a short cycle in the previous board meeting. We will move on to the student.
Perfect. So I'd like to turn it over to our 2 students from Walter T. Who are here to present on the happenings within Walter T.
Until last meeting, we're gonna go over a little bit of what's already happened and what we're communicating to them. So since the last meeting, the students took the I-rating and JSLA state assessments. Over the past couple weeks, the final I-rating tests were taken as well as the state assessments. Mr. Deeb said to us so far the results are very good for the students. We had a BMX assembly courtesy of the PTA. That was really cool. I think a lot of the students enjoyed that and everyone had a lot of fun. The Meeting House Workday also happened recently, and there was a lot of participation from even the teachers, so that was really great for the students who were still in school that day. The spring concert and art show also just happened. All the students did really well in that, and it was a great way for them to show off their talents. The Bell students just today took a trip to Sandy Hook for their environmental presentations, and they learned a lot about the ecosystem of our beaches in New Jersey to prepare for an upcoming environmental fair that will be held with us.
And up and coming, we have field day. Mrs. Convoy and Mr. Lombardi have planned a full day of games and competitions for all 4 grades to participate in on June 3rd. The 5th and 6th grade band took to see a Native American jazz fusion band. This performance is at New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and this has been planned and organized for them. The 8th grade trip to Gettysburg. This trip will take place from June 8th to June 10th. 8th grade students get to visit the Gettysburg National Military Park and also spend a day at Irving Park. Career Day. Over 20 adult guests from various careers will speak to local student students. They will also give mock interviews to 8th grade students. This is great practice for real world interviews that we will do in the future. Next is the 7th and 8th grade band trip to see Lakewood. Mrs. Lehman is taking the 7th and 8th grade to see a professional Broadway show in New York City. Like many trips, it's the first time the 7th and 8th grade band has experienced this field trip since 2019. End of the year academic awards. Mr. P. Bergen will be recognizing students from each grade that have excelled in all subject areas. This is on June 20th at 10 a.m. Parents are invited to attend. And lastly, graduation. The Walter T. Bergen graduation ceremony will recognize 8th grade students before they move on to high school next year. Graduation will be held on June 22nd at 10 a.m. It will take place outside if the weather permits. If not, the ceremony will be held in the year.
Yeah, I do have a very, very brief report tonight, because most of our report dealt with honoring our retirees. I do want to recognize, and I did send a letter to our entire community, both parents and members and teaching staff today, with the unfortunate events that did take place in our country yesterday. I do want to assure everyone that our schools are safe. This morning, I did meet with Lieutenant Terpstra of Bloomingdale Police Department, who's our school liaison in charge of school security. I did with him, in addition to the business administrator for the town, Mr. Sondermeyer, really collectively looking at our security protocols, making sure if we needed to make any revisions, this time we didn't feel we need to, but if we needed to make any revisions, that we were to make them. So again, I do want to echo our schools are certainly safe. I'm always open. I did receive a number of emails today, and I always encourage parents, if there's a concern, please email me. I'm dealing with the topic of safety, so I do want to reiterate again, our schools are safe. The question of an SRO, school resource officer, class 3 officer being shared with the Bloomingdale Police Department district did come up. That is a conversation that's ongoing with the borough administrator and the chief of police. So we are kind of engaging in those conversations already. Like I said, we met earlier today, and we do plan to meet again more formally next week to look at what the best options are for the district. So again, I know I didn't get a chance to write back to everyone today because you can imagine it was a little bit of a busy day, but I do want to reiterate that our schools are safe. You did see a heavy presence from the Bloomingdale Police Department today. But I also want to reiterate our police officers visit our buildings multiple times a day. It's an agreement the chief of police has in place with his officers in the district. They do tour our buildings a number of times today. So as I said in my letter to families, if there ever were an actual emergency at one of our schools, you will hear from me, and you will hear through school messenger immediately, as soon as practically possible with that situation. So if you ever pull up to a building and see a police officer, please do not be concerned. They do rotate through our buildings on a fairly regular basis, multiple times a day. That does conclude my report this evening.
This time, I'd like to have a motion to open the first public comments. Is subject to the rules on the agenda. That way, district bylaws 0167. Have a motion. Robert. Public comment is open. It's open to agenda. Good. You move by voice vote.
Aye.
Thank you. Any objections? Hearing none. Public comment is now open to public, to agenda items only. If you have public comment, please come before you and state your name. Okay, seeing none, I have a motion to close. Lauren,
Second, Tanya?
yes, second. We will move our vote, close, please. Aye. Thank you. We have our committee reports, starting with personnel policy, populations.
The Personnel Policy and Community Relations Committee has met twice in May. First, on May 9, the committee reviewed and endorsed the board action tonight for superintendent's personnel recommendations for the 2022-2023 school year. And on May 16, the committee reviewed and endorsed the board action tonight for superintendent's recommendations on the following subjects. One, the enactment of state legislation restoring state school aid cuts pursuant to the current school aid formula. Two. Second, consideration of the district's participation in the New Jersey Department of Education's district merger grant program. Third, the adoption of 13 policy updates. And fourth, the implementation of certain employee disciplinary matters. The superintendent also informed the committee about the district's hiring practices and updated the committee on the district's hiring efforts for the 2022-2023 school year. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that report? No, seeing none, can we have the curriculum report?
So we met, the Curriculum Instruction and Technology Committee met on May 23rd. The committee was given a technology plan update detailing replacements of chalkboards and classrooms to whiteboards. The committee also discussed the shared special education program that we share with Butler School District. Our district will stand by our setup to ensure fidelity to our programs and to prioritize student needs. There was a QSAC quality single accountability continual update. The committee touched on the 2020 comprehensive PE and health standards integration plan. We set the best methods to get information and facts to the public. And Dr. Nicosia shared that the district is awaiting further clarification from the governor. That concludes my report.
Any questions or comments on that report? No, seeing none, we move on. Ready, the finance report?
The finance committee met on Monday, May 23rd. A lot of the topics that we talked about were confidential. However, Dr. Nicosia gave us a great history of the previous pilot program and talked about how we were preparing for the next one. So that was really great, and that concludes our committee meeting.
Any questions, comments on that report?
Is that memorandum still in process?
Yeah, perhaps.
Ms. Spencer?
The Communications, Diversity, and Strategic Planning Committee met yesterday. First thing we received was an update and recommendation from the Policy Committee. Officially, it's Policy, Personnel, and Community Relations, and the Community Relations, Public Relations are now going to be incorporated into our committee, since communication between board, public, and the district is, sort of it's more in us. The committee discussed and unanimously agreed that seemed to make the most sense, and we will be a policy will be first reading tonight, and the second reading will be next month. Next, Dr. Nicosia provided an update from the finance committee, basically just giving us details about how the facility needs, how they meet with the, fall into what was outlined in our strategic plan and how the district plans on addressing those. And last, Dr. Nicosia outlined his that based off the input that the district received earlier this year from the community input for the strategic plan. He's formalizing his district goals for next year, and it's glad to say that they can be more specific. The first one is definitely going to be geared to specific facility goals. The second is about upgrading all the technology in the classroom, which new smart boards, new installation of whiteboards, moving, the chalk is now gone, all the chalkboards. And then finally, for implementing some more academic choice at Walter T. Bergen to give them a real middle school feeling of electives. And that was the end of our meeting. Concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yeah.
Just to follow up on the issue on public relations. So P155, which is the policy on committees, which had been up for first reading, is, I see it's under new business tonight. We don't have that policy in front of us because if it's going to be, if public relations is now coming out of personnel and moving into communications, is that going to require change to the language of the policy as it had been presented for first reading a couple of months ago?
Correct. It would be changed to how it's presented.
All right, so then rather than have a first reading on that policy tonight, we need to have a first reading in June.
So we could, if there is a motion to bring that forward and the second all in favor, we could present the first reading of the policy. I have a draft and we could share if that is the direction the board wants to go.
More questions or comments on that report?
But no, I don't think it. So.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Overslager, can you move the job description information?
But I understand this new format correctly. I would be offering resolution 7.2 to 7.8 inclusive.
That is
Or-
correct. 7.1 is just, yes.
Right, 7.1 is just a section. Okay. Everyone understands you're voting on resolutions 7.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.1.
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions on that? 7.2 to 7.4.
There was a minor revision to the calendar under 7.7.
7. That's one typo was corrected on the calendar. In regards to the
More questions or comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Rabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco?
Yes.
Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Overslager?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana? Yes. Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Carabao?
Yes. Mr. Overslager, can you do the human resources motion?
Okay. I will move the adoption of resolutions 8.2 through 8.24. Inclusive.
And the second was. Okay. 1 second. Any questions, comments, resolution 8.2 to 8.24. Seeing that, we have a roll call.
Mrs. Rabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco?
Yes.
Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Overslager?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana?
Yes.
Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Carabao?
Yes. We have the academic programming.
I'd like to move items 9.2 to 9.3.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 9.2 or 9.3? We have hearing none?
No, I do have, I'm sorry, one point of order. Can Nadia move this resolution? was covered in line 3.
You're allowed to-
Oh, can I move it?
You can move it, yeah.
Okay,
If you're voting, you might want to abstain. You vote.
okay,
So there's a difference between moving and voting.
okay, so the vote then I'll.
Any other questions or comments? With that, we get a roll call.
Ms. Rabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco? Mrs. Hussein?
Abstain?
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Omenauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana? Yes. Mrs. Spencer?
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson? Yes. And Mrs. Carvalho?
Yes, on 2, abstain on 3. We have the student services.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'll move, items 10.2 to 10.6.
Second.
Any questions or comments on 10.2?
Rabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco? Yes. Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Omenauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana? Yes. Mrs. Spencer? Yes. Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Carvalho?
Yes. Okay, move to the action sections, right?
I'd like to move the adoption of 11.2 through 11.9.
Any questions or comments on motions 11.2 to 11.9?
Oh, they're on the agenda.
Any questions or comments? 11.2. Okay, here's next, we have roll call.
Ms. Rabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco? Yes. Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Marcus?
Yes.
Mr. Omenauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Santana? Yes. Mrs. Spencer? Yes. Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Carvalho?
Yes. All right, so we have the liaison report, so starting with the Department Board of Education.
You recorded this one.
Report, okay, go to Lions. Report, we have mayor council, you want to come now?
Nothing, since we last met, we have met with the mayor and council to discuss certain items, all four falls in the category of negotiation, so nothing to truly report out at this time.
Okay.
Can I just point out, a couple of weeks ago, the mayor and council had a ceremony to recognize the appointment of new police officers in town, promotion of some of our current officers who hired from retirement.
Thank you. School board?
Actually, I attended the New Jersey School Board Delegate Assembly on May 14th. It was really neat to talk to other people from all around the state and see, what's going on in their towns and cities. And I hear how they want to pull together and, keep everything together over the last 2 years. You don't realize how much work goes into that. So, very appreciative.
Okay,
Yeah, they didn't vote on anything like very,
so they did vote on one thing, it's a little tricky.
it was the, I guess before you didn't have to have a full term
Yeah, so.
to sit on the New Jersey School Board.
The officer, right,
Yeah.
the officer of the New Jersey School Board, previously, you could have been elected a week ago and qualified for an officer. So they're putting more requirements into an officer now. Which your point is like minimal, like one term.
Yeah, one term.
And also they want certified board members. So it's different levels of certification. You got new board member certification, certified board member, master board member, and certified master leader. They're requiring that they now have at least one level certification. So that was interesting. And those guys need to move.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I just asked what you director. That's all.
He's relatively low. I think he's from Ontario, right? All right, any other questions or comments on the school board? No, would say kind?
I don't have any updates. There was a meeting, I think it was short, in the time here. Between these 4 meetings.
Okay, Frank?
Nothing relevant to this, there's nothing on their agenda currently relevant to this.
PTA?
They had a successful trick or treat fundraiser on 5/20 last Friday. I was able to attend. It was absolutely packed. There was like 10 tables of different trays and a lot of support from the community. So that was really great to see. Very successful. They're having a family movie night on June 3rd. So this upcoming Friday, and also selling some cool Bloomingdale picnic blankets on their site. They had a hospitality teacher appreciation week, which was also very successful with a lot of contributions from parents. And for 2022, 2023, they're going to be starting a gardening school beautification committee. And I believe that's they met with Dr. Nicasier in communication with him about how to just support beautifying our school and just adding to the landscape. So that's my report.
Irrigation. Seniors, Tampa, review. I do not have a report on senior. That's the reports. Then we move on to old business. I would like to move new business. Have a couple of questions regarding our board goals. But I think I'll wait till after we do the conversation around the policy committee. You want to do that?
Sure, absolutely. So we're going to do business. The policy committee asked that we revisit policy 0155, which is on board committees. The policy committee had a discussion. I'm sorry, let me back up. I apologize. The communications committee had a discussion yesterday on policy 0155, of which they felt unanimously that public relations could fall within the work they're doing as a committee. They asked that I prepare potential policy should they bring it forward tonight. So we would need a motion to introduce the first reading. Sure. Well, if we get let's make sure we have a motion.
Is there a motion to? So to Laura move the motion. The second.
To So again, if any member of the communication committee is welcome to chime in here, but the communication committee was proposing, potentially removing community relations from personnel policy like previously discussed and putting in public relations and strategic planning as the fourth committee. Currently we do, since we have an appointed member of the Butler board, determination that we didn't need the Butler Board of Education liaison committee previously by the policy committee.
Just to clarify, the change in language here is as to the titles of the committees in terms of reflecting your functions, but also providing at the bottom that the superintendent is now also have the authority to call a committee.
Which is our practice we've been utilizing, yes.
No, I just,
Yes.
it looks bold to me, but.
It is,
I would like-
yes.
So.
Yep, it is bold. Yep.
What's being crossed out is something that really is.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're, that might be pre the change of law.
Could have.
regarding the committee structure, the policy, the personnel policy committee relations committee had discussed, I think it was March, I don't remember exactly, but that the function of community public relations should come out of our committee. That we have enough between personnel and policy that it's not getting attention and it needs to find a home where it get attention with another committee or the same.
It's happening. So
No?
public relations to
I do have a question, just for some clarification. We have the communication, diversity and strategic planning,
that was ad hoc.
but that's ad hoc. So this is a permanent, okay, status. Okay, I want to clarify that.
Any other questions, comments?
This is just a first read, so this vote is just to take a first read. So it's not in effect yet.
Received that they,
There's a motion.
there was a motion. So we have a second. So we're going discussion, I can ask for a vote.
Ms. Sarabia? Yes. Mrs. Greco?
Yes.
Mrs. Hussein?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mrs. Santan? Yes. Mrs. Spencer? Yes. Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Mr. Caravaggio?
Yes. Still under new business, I'd like to have a conversation with the board members regarding possible our own board goals. So we'll take the board to, let's read the conversation for this session, continue on the next session. We have to tell you having board goals, examples of board goals, are we satisfied with our self-assessment process? Like our board do that's the thought. Do you have any training goals? Do we want to aspire to have training as a goal as board members? We want to have a board retreat in the second half of the year. That's another point I'd like to bring up as part of our board goals. And I'd like to regularly discuss the strategic plan as a board. I mean, it can come out of recommendations, but I just want to make sure that we have a touch point, let's say quarterly. I'd like to propose that we think about those as board goals that we can entertain and maybe even just codify and collect and just keep track to see if we agree that these are our goals. And we're all moving pretty much, like better term, in the same direction. We may have projection to maybe periodically, like every other meeting, we start drafting some board goals and maybe build on four, yeah, not a lot. Something that we own, that we can commit to, that the purpose is to make us a better.
This is I think one strategic planning, and helpful.
One is we want, how we want to like work retreat other, right? We want to do kind of training goals. So I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but I like to plant that seed. We think about it, so maybe the next meeting, we have a more in-depth conversation.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe you could draft a series of goals in language, and then we could have something in front of us and play off of that in June 15th meeting?
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it'd be good if we start conversations around goals as pertains to us as.
And would that conversation be available, like, would it be like in this public forum?
Yes, and yeah, it would be in the public forum. There's nothing of a confidential nature. That I'm aware of. Okay. So having any other new business? No, then I'd like to then get a motion to open the second public comment.
Second.
So
All in favor?
Aye.
does the public have any comments they want to comment?
There's a microphone.
So 145 Rapkin Road, Katarzyna Wisner. So I have two
items that I would like to address today. So looking back at this school year, it is easy to see that teachers have overcome a huge challenge in helping the children readapt in a normal classroom. A topic I think might need more discussion is the planning in how to help these that are still having trouble in the classroom, whether it's educationally, emotionally, behaviorally, or socially. But at the same time, these that have continued to advance cannot be held back to accommodate this since they have already lost so much. So the underlying question is how to help this in need while allowing others to continue without being disadvantaged for it. I have heard several children having a regular outburst at Martha Day School, causing disruption and interruption to classroom, which is putting stress on already difficult situation. My second thing is, at another topic, the curriculum, teaching methods, tools, examples for the classes should be made available for the parents. The methods being taught now are so much different than years ago. Helping children with their homework has become increasingly difficult as the methods are now allowing explain in the assignment. So they are not explaining how they should do the homework. These are been several incidents where my daughter need to try to teach me what they learned so that I could help her. If she remembers something incorrectly, that mistake is then reinforced by incorrectly repeating it. The teacher have been wonderful with assisting when asking for help. However, this usually occurs after the homework is done wrong. Mistakes are made and parents realize further instruction are needed. It would be much more efficient and beneficial to parents if these materials were available in advance, preferably online, where it can be reviewed along with the classwork and homework. This would also allow us to better understand class topics and help prepare for topics that our children might have trouble. So I would ask you to, I know we don't have any books, we don't have any curriculum online, so my question to you is if you would be allowed to put the curriculums that the teacher used to put online, or provide us with the book that will be optionally to buy. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? We will respond after more of these. Is there any other public comment? So I get a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All right, so moved by Lauren, second by read backwards. Really? Okay. All in favor?
Sure. So I certainly appreciate the comments. I'll refer a lot of those back at our next administrative team meeting. I'll bring those up with the principals. We do meet frequently, so I'll bring up certainly the ideas of students are still struggling and need additional support. We do have an area of focus for loud and clear about parent training next year and parent support. That is one of my planned district goals, is really hosting more parent academies on a number of topics. So I certainly welcome and appreciate the feedback. I will share that our new mathematics program that we're currently in the process of training teachers on and implementing in September does come with full parent resources and parent videos, so parents have that at-home portion and connection, which I know our current program does not have to the greatest extent possible. So it's certainly something that we consider in the math curriculum committee, considered in adopting this new math program. And as we look at language arts next year, it's certainly an item that we'll keep in mind. Our curriculums, to some degree, are available on the district website. If you need assistance, you can certainly reach out to me. But as we revise them, as for example, as we complete the math curriculum revisions, they will all go up there on the district website, certainly. We do not have a need for executive session.
Do you want to reach out to the superintendent?
Yeah.
Is that-
I just would like to add that for me, the most important thing is math and English, and those curriculum I would like just to be online or additional will be provided. Because I feel that it's so essential and all the techniques are so different right now. So I would like to have it on hand. I don't want to have that the teacher because many other parts that probably do the same thing. So I think it would be much easier if it would be online or the book would be provided.
We can certainly speak after the meeting. Thank you.
So since we don't have a need for executive session, at this point, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Would that have worked?
Aye.
Okay, so meeting is adjourned. Thanks very much for attending. Thank you.